Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nello Reads channel. Our first I Don't Work Here Lady story of the day comes from Big Rigs Butters. I am so sick of being asked if I work here. I am a field service technician who has multiple contracts with Lowe's and Dollar General. Every single time I am asked if I work there, it's always at the most annoying or the most obvious moment that I don't work there. This is just one example why I loathe these people. I am in Lowe's in Lawn and Garden, standing in front of a completely torn down register. Parts are everywhere. Laptop is pulled out and I am looking over documents. I am wearing a Rick and Morty shirt and have earbuds in my ears. Lowe's employees, for those unaware, wear red or camo green vests and are not allowed to have earbuds in. A lady stands in front of me and I ignore her. She makes an ahem noise. I ignore her. I'm mid-conversation with another tech saying that it's really frustrating being asked if I work here and getting interrupted. She then taps me and tells me she's ready to be rang up. I ignore her and continue my conversation. The whole time, the actual employee is trying to get her attention. She gets frustrated and I just point behind her. She sees the employee, rolls her eyes, and walks away. I know someone's gonna say, well, you could have just told her you don't work here. But the thing is, that doesn't always work. I have had people ask for a manager because I refused to help them. I have learned that silence is golden. Ignore them and eventually they will figure it out. I genuinely wish more people had situational awareness. How these people survive is a dang mystery to me. All I can really say about this one is that I agree with OP. I mean, come on, he was wearing a Rick and Morty shirt. It is pretty obvious he doesn't work there. Our next story comes from That's Not My Name. Customer rings his own food. I work for a very popular quick food chain that started in the Midwest. During the virus, we had to close our lobby for obvious reasons. So we resorted to putting up a tent, the ones you'd see at fairs, to take orders outside in addition to our drive-thru, because we can get very busy, but we also don't want to waste labor by having someone out there all day. So we just send someone to run out after we get X amount of cars lined up in the drive-thru, and it remains unmanned otherwise. One day, we are having a slow afternoon. I work in kitchen and an order starts to pop up on the screen, which is weird because we have an overhead system that gives kitchen the audio when someone is taking an order in the drive-thru, so I know we don't have a guest in the drive-thru. Plus, all the employee breaks are done, so it isn't one of my coworkers' food. I call up to Frontline to ask who's ordering, and they are at a loss. So I look at the screen again, and it says that it's coming from the POS that we have outside. Our POS is pretty tough to navigate, or at least it was at the time, and usually required 3 to 5 days of training to get someone used to all the different menus on it, and to get them to remember asking for sauce on orders with tenders and condiments on burgers. Turns out, some customer had decided to take his own order on the POS outside, without issue, and cashed himself out. We don't have a register out there, you can only pay with card, so we weren't worried about him stealing. He even added his own side of sauce. He gave himself a number for the order, and he tendered it to the right location. A few of us managers were curious if he would be interested in a job, because we were always in recruit mode, but he politely declined. Everyone on shift thought this was hilarious, and the story was circulating around the store for a week or so because we found it so funny. Wait a minute, I thought this was a story from I Don't Work Here Lady, not I Do Work Here Lady. Very corny jokes aside, I'm actually pretty impressed that this random guy figured out how to order that way all on his own. I'm definitely curious if maybe he worked for a different chain that had the same system. The third story comes from Right Reality. I just wanted a drill, not a police report. Alright, so a little backstory. This happened about 4 months ago. I had just finished an 11-hour shift and needed to stop at Home Depot to get a new drill. I just wanted to run in, buy it, run out, and get home. Of course, it wasn't that easy. I had just gotten to the drills and was looking over the options in my price range when I hear it. Excuse me, where are the wax toilet rings? There are a few other people in the area, so I ignore it, assuming there's an employee nearby. It's important to add, as I work in traffic control and just got off the job site, I'm wearing high visibility pants, a high visibility shirt that says company name traffic control on the back, a radio with a shoulder mic, and have a traffic control technician certification card displayed on my vest. The employees here wear orange aprons and normal clothes. Hello? Do you want to do your job or just stand there looking at tools? At this point, I glanced around to see what was going on. I assumed some customer was berating an employee, which happens a lot at this location, unfortunately. I was surprised, however, to see some 30-year-old guy in a white button-down shirt and tie looking at me like I'm stupid. "Can I help you?" I said, still not sure of the situation, but that seemed to tick them off. "Yes, you can tell me where the goddamn wax rings are," he shouted. At this point, it clicked in my head what was going on. "I'm sorry, sir," I started saying. I don't want to hear anything but an aisle number," he yelled, interrupting me and drawing the attention of a few other shoppers. "Honestly, how did you get this job being so stupid?" I tried again. "I don't work," he cuts me off again. "Oh my god, why is this so hard? Where are the wax rings?" Now, I don't know why, but I got an idea in my head that I thought would be amusing, and at the very least, might get him away from me. I pointed behind him, at a random aisle, where wax rings almost certainly weren't in, and said, "It's right there." "Finally! How stupid can you effing be?" he yelled, huffing and storming off. I thought that was the end of it. I figured he'd realize they're not in that aisle, and then find an actual employee to ask. Nope. He came right back and started yelling that I don't even know how to do my job and that his best friend is the district manager and he'll have my job. During his yelling, I noticed a few shoppers staring at us. I just raised my hand, pointed to the same aisle as before, and said, "They're right there. Look, can't you see them? How stupid can you effing be?" I retorted, taking glee and throwing the last part back at him. But he wasn't amused. He smacked my hand down and shoved me, yelling something about stupid punk teenagers. That was a bad idea. I'm not a skilled fighter or super strong or anything, but I know when I can take someone. This guy clearly didn't. I punched him once, square in the nose, presumably breaking it, and he fell back, hitting his head on the concrete ground hard. "Someone call the police! This guy just attacked me!" he yelled as the crowd nearby grew larger and larger. I was worried. Obviously, it was in self-defense, but I kept thinking that I should have shoved him back and not punched him. I was worried that if he hit his head to the point it caused a lot of damage, I could get in trouble. A manager came over and asked what was going on. He started screaming that, "This employee attacked me when I tried to ask for simple directions. Look what he did." By this point, blood is visible on the spot he hit his head, along with the blood pouring out of both his nostrils. "Who did?" the manager said, puzzled and concerned, looking around at the actual employees who were still on their way over to the commotion. "Oh my god, are you all this stupid? Him!" he screamed, pointing at me. He doesn't work here, sir," the manager said. The manager got on the radio for more employees, ignoring the man's insistence that I do, and told me to follow him. He takes me to the security office and has me wait for the police. Luckily, multiple customers and the cameras saw my side of the story, and since the police went to the injured person first to render aid, they also interviewed witnesses over there before coming to me. When they came in, I gave my side of the story. The police said it contradicts his versions of events, but that it matches the witnesses' statements. They said the guy was yelling that he wanted me arrested and locked up. That's when the manager pulled up the footage, which showed him hit my hand and shove me. And I only hit him after that, and one time. Also in my favor, I was facing him with the drill shelf behind me when he shoved me, so I was somewhat cornered. They then asked if I wanted to press charges, and since he wanted to get me arrested, I decided, heck yeah, lock his butt up. They arrested him, and a few months later, I found out he pled guilty and avoided jail time. But now he has an assault charge on his record. I honestly wouldn't have pressed charges if it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to press charges against me. I hope he learned his lesson and doesn't treat anyone that way again, even if they're a Home Depot employee. It's nice for once to see karma actually unfold at the end of the story. A lot of these stories I'm left wondering what actually happened to everyone involved, but not only did OP provide the details, they were very entertaining. Our next story comes from Digital Girly, giving her straight talk. I read a Barnes & Noble story this morning that reminded me of my own Barnes & Noble experience. I was in the anime section when a little old lady asked me for a recommendation for her 13-year-old granddaughter. I steered her to an age-appropriate section since anime can be very risque or flat out too adult for that age group. She gave her thanks and I left. Another lady grabbed me as I strolled away and asked for help finding something. Since it was on the way to the escalators, it was no big deal to walk together, then point out what she was looking for. As I got close to the escalators, some nutjob grabbed my arm and spun me around, demanding help. Disbelieving that some random person would put hands on a stranger like that, I was stunned for a minute. Finally, I just said, "Look, lady, I don't work here." She replies, "Then how come you were just helping those other ladies?" Because they asked me nicely, and the answers to their questions were conveniently close by. "Then why won't you help me?" she says. "You didn't ask nicely, laid hands on me, and in general, I find you to be a complete twat." I left her standing there with a stupid look on her face. A simple but satisfying tale. Well, that's all I got for now. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I'll see you in the next video.